Hello guys, this is your friend and we are back with a new fanfic. Which is what if Naruto was 1 year older with no Kurama and every Kunoichi loved him part 1. And if you enjoy this fanfic then please press the like button and subscribe to my channel for more fanfic like this. And now let's start the fanfic. Hey dad, can you help me with my training? Know that I am in the academy. A 6-year-old Naruto asked as he and his father walked back from the academy. We will see, I am very busy with being the Hokage. I swear all that paperwork will be the death of me. Minato responded with a grin. That never seems to keep him from training Mito or Mema. Naruto thought in his head. Hey, how about we go get some ramen? Minato suggested. Okay, sounds good. Naruto responded gloomily as he wondered why his parents always trained his younger siblings but never trained with him. So how was your first day at the academy? Minato asked as they began their walk to Ichiraku Ramen. It was good, we started to learn about chakra and how to access it. Naruto stated. Did you make any friends? Minato asked. I think I made 3. Naruto responded. Really, what are their names? Minato asked. Neji Hyuga, Rock Lee, and Tenten. Naruto responded. Lee is kind of different though, he can't use ninjutsu or genjutsu since he doesn't have enough chakra, but he's still determined to become a great ninja. Naruto stated. Well, that certainly is very weird. Minato stated as he and Naruto walked into Ichiraku Ramen. We'll have 2 miso ramen bowls please. Minato said to Chuki as he walked through the door and sat down at the counter. Coming right up, Lord Fourth. Chuki responded. Oh Naruto, I almost forgot to tell you. Your mom and I are going to have another baby, so it looks like you're going to be a big brother again. Minato said with an excited grin on his face. Really, wow, that's great. Is it going to be a boy or a girl? Naruto asked excitedly. It's going to be a girl, but don't tell the twins yet, we don't want them to get too excited and stop focusing on their training. Minato responded. Does it always have to be about the twins? Naruto thought to himself. Anyway, do you want me to help you with your training tomorrow? Minato asked. Sure dad, I'll meet you at the training ground 3 after school. Naruto stated. Okay, sounds like a plan. Now let's eat, Minato said as their ramen arrived. Hokage's office the next day. Lord Fourth, you have a message from Kushina. Minato's secretary said as she strolled into the Hokage's office holding a slip of paper and handed it to Minato. Thank you, may go no. Minato said as he took the letter from her. Minato, I need your help today with training the twins. Was all the letter said. Weasel, Minato said. Suddenly an Anbu sunshined into the room. Please take off you mask, Weasel. Minato said. The Anbu removed his weasel mask and revealed his face. Itachi, I need you to go to training ground 3 and tell him that I won't be able to help him with his training today. Minato said after Itachi removed his mask. If he asks why, what should I tell him, Lord Fourth? Itachi asked. Just tell that I had to go help train the twins. Minato responded. I will do as you ask, Lord Fourth. Itachi responded as he sunshined away. Training ground 3 minutes later. Itachi heard the dull thud of kunai and shuriken hitting logs as he walked up to training ground 3. As he came into the clearing, he saw the 4th Hokage's oldest son practicing. Who there? Naruto asked as he turned with kunai in hand ready to throw them at the unfamiliar presence he sensed. Naruto watched as Itachi Uchiha walked out of the tree line and into the clearing. How did you sense me? Itachi asked. I'm a sensor, and from what I understand a very powerful one for my age. Anyway, what brings you here? Naruto asked as he turned back to a target and threw a kunai into the bullseye. Your father sent me to tell you that he won't be able to come and help you with your training. Itachi stated as he walked up next to the boy. May I ask why he will not be coming? Naruto asked. He said something about training the twins. Itachi said. Itachi saw his grip tighten on his next kunai as he threw it at a rock with such force it sank up to the hilt into the rock. Okay, thank you for telling me, Itachi. Naruto said as he turned away from Itachi again. You seem upset about this, Naruto, may I ask why? Itachi asked. I'm upset because no matter how hard I try I can never get the chance to show my dad that I am as good as the twins. You know, my academy teacher told me that I did well at throwing kunai in practice today, but then he said that I didn't do as well as my father did on his first day at the academy. Naruto said with his voice raised slightly. Are you jealous of your siblings? Itachi asked. No, I know what lies inside my brother and I understand why he needs special attention. I asked once if I could train with the twins. My father told me that I was not strong enough to train with them. My question was, how would he know? He has never seen me fight or practice my jutsu. Naruto said as tears welled in his eyes. Itachi was shocked. Did the Hokage have no idea how it must have felt for the boy that is a year older than the twins to be told that he is not strong enough? I can help you train, Itachi stated. The boy stopped crying and looked at Itachi. Really, you would be willing to train me even though I am weak? Naruto said. Yes, and you are not weak, you just need training. But answer me this, how do you know about what lies in your brother? Itachi asked. Are you kidding me? I can sense. How can you not with that much chakra seeping out of the seal? Naruto stated blandly. Okay, meet me here tomorrow after school to begin your training. Itachi said. Alright, see you then, Naruto said as Itachi turned around and walked away. Naruto arrived at Training Ground 3 just after school the following day and found Itachi there waiting for him with another younger Uchiha standing next him. I hope you don't mind that I brought Sasuke with me. I promised that I would start training him, Itachi said as Naruto walked up to the pair. Not at all. It's a pleasure to meet you, Sasuke, Naruto said as he extended his hand. It's a pleasure to meet you also. Aren't you Mito's and Mema's older brother? Sasuke asked as he shook Naruto's hand. Yes, I am. Now what are we going to be doing today, Itachi? Naruto asked. We will start with working on chakra control, then taijutsu, and finally finish up with kunai and shuriken practice. But before any of that I need to talk to you in private, Itachi said as he motioned to Sasuke to leave for a brief moment. After Sasuke left, Naruto walked up to Itachi. What was it you needed to talk to me about? Naruto asked. Well, after we finish kunai and shuriken practice I will be working with Sasuke on our clan's fire ninjutsu, but unfortunately I can't teach it to you due to my father insisting I not. Itachi said. It's fine, I understand why your father doesn't want me to learn it since it's your clan's ninjutsu, Naruto said. Well, I hope this will make up for it, Itachi said as he tossed a book at Naruto. What is this? Naruto asked. It's a book on the basics of fuinjutsu. Unfortunately I am not a fuinjutsu user myself, but I figured that since both your parents are well known for theirs you might be interested in it, Itachi said. Thank you very much, Itachi, you have no idea how much this means to me, Naruto said as he stored the book away. You are welcome, Naruto, Itachi said as he called Sasuke back into the clearing. 2 weeks later, Yugao had noticed how after they were released from duty Itachi would instantly run off in the direction of the training grounds. Yugao was curious as to what her fellow Anbu was in such a rush for, so she decided to follow him. Yugao saw a black-haired boy sparring with a blonde-haired boy. She recognized the black-haired boy as Itachi's younger brother Sasuke, but she didn't recognize the blonde-haired boy, though he did look vaguely familiar. Come out now, whoever you are, Naruto said as he turned to face where Yugao was hiding with a kunai in hand. How can he sense me? Yugao thought to herself. Yugao removed her mask and put it in her pocket and then walked into the clearing. Yugao, it's nice to see you, Itachi said as he turned to face her. Naruto and Sasuke, this is a very good friend of mine, Yugao Azuki, Itachi said as he motioned them to come over. It's a pleasure to meet you, Yugao, Naruto as he gave a polite bow. What is your name? Yugao responded. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, Naruto responded. So you are the eldest son of Lord Fourth then? Yugao asked. Yes, I am, Naruto responded with a slight twitch of annoyance. Well, Naruto, Sasuke and I are going to go practice his ninjutsu, so see you tomorrow, Itachi said as he and Sasuke disappeared from the clearing. Well, it was a pleasure meeting you, but I must get back to my training, Naruto said as he turned to walk away from Yugao. Why don't you get your father and mother to help you with your train? Yugao asked. They are too busy training my siblings, and according to them I am not strong enough to train with them and my younger siblings, Naruto responded in a dark, depressed tone. Have you tried asking them to help you with your training? Yugao asked. Yes, but they are too busy training my siblings, thus the reason why Itachi started to train me, but unfortunately he doesn't know a lot about Kenjutsu, which is my mother's second best skill, Naruto responded. Well, you know what, I am very skilled in Kenjutsu myself and I would be willing to train you on the condition that you must spar with me on a regular basis, Yugao responded. Well, I accept your proposal, but I must ask you why the odd demand. Naruto asked. Well, I am in need of a sparring partner since my old sparring partner and close friend Hayate Gecko was killed on a mission over a year ago. Yugao responded while scratching the back of her head. Okay, I was just curious. I am glad to have you as my sensei. Naruto responded. Well, Naruto, I will start training you tomorrow. Meet me here after you have finished your training with Itachi. Yugao stated. Okay, thanks Yugao-sensei, I will meet you here tomorrow. Naruto as he turned around and began to walk off. Oh, Naruto here. Yugao responded as she tossed him a scroll. What is this? Naruto asked as he stared at the scroll. That is a scroll that contains the style that I am going to teach you at Iijutsu. It is not the style I use, but seeing as you like to counter-attack with your taijutsu, I think it will be a better fit for you. Yugao responded. If you don't use this style of kenjutsu, then how are you going to teach it to me? Naruto asked. Though I choose not to use them, I know many different styles and can teach all of them pretty well. I am not known as the Hidden Leaf's kenjutsu mistress for nothing. Yugao responded. Thank you, sensei, I am sorry for doubting you. Naruto responded as he scratched the back of his head. It's fine, Naruto, well, see you tomorrow. Yugao responded. The following day, Yugao walked into the clearing holding 2 wooden bakken and saw Naruto reading the scroll she gave him yesterday and smirked. So you're reading the scroll, I see. How much have you read? Yugao asked Naruto as she walked up behind him. I've read all of it. I got done with my class work early today, so I started reading and have been reading ever since. Naruto stated. What about your training with Itachi? Yugao asked. He and Sasuke had some clan stuff to do today, so they weren't able to train today. I've been here reading ever since class let out for the day. Naruto stated as he put the scroll away. Won't your mom be worried that you never came home? Yugao asked. No, she's too busy training the twins and I really don't like hanging around the house much anymore anyway. Naruto stated. Must get pretty lonely. Yugao asked. No, not really, I might not like it, but I understand why my siblings need special attention. Also, I have you, Itachi, Sasuke, Neji, Tenten, and Rock Lee to keep me company. Naruto stated. Well, let's get started then. Yugao stated as she tossed Naruto one of the bakken. Naruto took up the starting stance, which unlike most styles Iijutsu started with the blade sheathed. An hour later, Naruto and Yugao collapsed against a tree after an hour of non-stop sparring. Are you sure you've never used a sword before? Yugao asked. Yep, I had no one to teach me how to use one, so I am pretty sure this is the first time using a sword. Naruto responded. Well then, I am impressed. Yugao responded. Thank you. Same time tomorrow? Naruto asked. Yes. Yugao responded as Naruto handed her the bakken and began to walk in the direction of the Namikaze compound. Naruto. Yugao called. If you ever need a place to get away from your family, my house is the blue and white one about a half a mile from here. Yugao stated. Thank you, I might do that. Naruto responded. Naruto is unbelievable. In 3 short years he has become a better swordsman than some that have been practicing for decades. He even was already as good as Hayate before he was killed. Yugao thought in her head as she sat on the couch. Then she heard a knock at her door. Yugao walked to the front door and opened it to find Naruto standing in front of it. Naruto had changed his clothing much in the last 3 years. Now he wore a black sleeveless skin-tight shirt, black anbu pants, black sandals and black fingerless teko. Yugao-sensei, mind if I come in? Naruto asked. No, not at all. Yugao responded as she stepped back to allow Naruto into the house. She noticed he looked angry. As Naruto walked into the living room, he sat down in the chair with his elbows on his knees and rested his forehead on top of his folded hands and closed his eyes. Yugao saw a lone tear fall from his face. Naruto, what's wrong? Yugao asked. I came home from school and found my mom training the twins in kenjutsu, and when I asked if I could join, she told me that she didn't think I was strong enough to learn any kenjutsu. Then she told me to go work on my kunai throwing. I couldn't stand it. I had to get out of there. I am sorry for bothering you. I will leave now. Naruto said, then stood up to leave. Naruto, sit down. Yugao ordered as she moved in front him, blocking his path to the door. Naruto sat back down. Come here, Naruto. Yugao said as she motioned Naruto to follow her back to her room. Naruto stepped into the room and saw Yugao standing there with beautiful all-black sword that had a longer blade than any he had seen before. And if you need a better description, think of a all-black version of Kenpachi Zaraki's sword from Bleach. Yugao motioned for Naruto to sit on her bed. Naruto sat down on the bed. Naruto, I can't imagine what must feel like to be called weak by your own parents, but remember, there are people that know your true strength and know that you are not weak. This sword was my father's. Its name is Kokushibayo An, should mean Black Death. Please tell me if that translation is correct. I want you to have it, Yugao said as she placed the sword into Naruto's hands. Yugao-sensei, I am honored by the offer, but I can't accept this sword. It's part of your clan's history. I don't want to take that history from you. Naruto responded. Naruto, my clan has been split apart due to jealousy. Please take this sword for me. I think my father would have wanted you to have it. Yugao responded. Okay, since you insisted. Naruto responded. Naruto took the sword and belted it on his left hip and turned to face Yugao. It looks like it belongs with you, Yugao stated. Suddenly there was a knock at the door. Yugao walked to the front door and answered. Ida. Yugao was cut off as Itachi gave her a kiss. Suddenly Itachi heard laughter behind Yugao and then saw Naruto leaning against the wall laughing. It's nice to see you to finally admit your feelings to one another, Naruto said. Was it that obvious? Itachi asked. Yeah, it was obvious, but I am glad to see you two finally admitting it to one another, Naruto responded. Well, we haven't told anyone yet, so please don't tell anyone, Yugao requested. Your secret is safe with me, Naruto responded. So Naruto, if you don't mind, explain what are you doing here? Itachi asked. Naruto motioned Itachi to sit down in the living room as Yugao closed the door. Minutes later, after Naruto explains why he is at Yugao's house, and I really didn't want to go through all that again, sorry. Are you kidding me? No offense, Naruto, but are your parents blind? Itachi asked. I wish it was that, but honestly they just don't have the time for me, Naruto responded. Well, I am tired of this. I am going to go tell the Hokage what I think, Itachi said as he stood up to leave. Naruto rushed forward and grabbed his arm. Don't, you will only succeed in making him think I am jealous of my siblings, Naruto responded. Naruto, why do you think that your father will believe that you are jealous of your siblings? Itachi asked. Though my father loves me, he cares more about my sibling because of what lies within my brother and believes it's his responsibility to make him into a great shinobi, Naruto responded. Why are you willing to accept that? Yugao asked. I don't accept it. I will someday make them realize the mistake they made, Naruto responded. Itachi stood up. Well, I must be going. Oh, by the way, Naruto, Yugao, my mom wanted to invite the two of you over for dinner tonight, Itachi said as he started walking to the door. Okay, but I may have to bring Akari with me, Naruto responded. Akari is Naruto's youngest sister and is about 3 years old right now. Uchiha compound. Several hours later, Naruto walked through the entrance of the Uchiha compound to find Itachi leaning against a wall waiting for him. Itachi waved him over. Itachi, I want you to meet my younger sister Akari, Naruto said, motioning to the 2-year-old blonde walking next to him. Itachi knelt down in front of Akari. It's a pleasure to meet you, Akari, Itachi said as he extended his hand towards Akari. Akari hid behind Naruto's leg. Go ahead, Akari, don't be shy, he's a friend of mine, Naruto said in response to Akari hiding. Your big brother's friend? Akari asked in a quiet voice. Yes, I am, Itachi responded. Akari quickly reached out and shook his hand. No, come on, you two, my mom will be wondering where we are, Itachi stated. 5 minutes later, in front of Itachi's house, Naruto was confused. On their way to Itachi's house, he had noticed some of Itachi's clan giving him hateful glares. Your father is weak, Itachi. First he cancels the rebellion, no, he lets the spawn of those lesser clans walk in here. An Uchiha Chunin yelled from down the street. Sensing the heightening hostility, Naruto turned to Akari. Akari, I want to go into Itachi's house and tell Yugao-sensei what is going on and stay there until told otherwise, Naruto told Akari. Akari nodded and ran into the house. Moments later, Fugaku, Makoto, Yugao, and Sasuke appeared beside them. First of all, that rebellion was doomed from the start and my father only planned to go along with it because he was forced to. Second of all, if these clans are lesser, then explain to me how Uchiha have never had a Hokage come from their clan, Itachi responded. I have changed Fugaku significantly for this story. You didn't explain what kids that are not worthy to step foot in our compound are doing here desecrating our ground. The Uchiha Chunin stated. They are worthy of that, I can assure you. Itachi responded. If they are worthy, then let the boy prove it to us in battle. The Uchiha Chunin challenged. I will not allow you to cause harm to others for your own blind pride of this clan. Fugaku yelled. Mr. Uchiha, please allow me to accept this duel. Naruto said as he turned towards Fugaku. Why, you have nothing to prove? Fugaku asked. That is where you are wrong, Mr. Uchiha. Itachi is a friend of mine, and for anyone to call him or his family weak or cowards deserves to be shown how wrong they are. Naruto responded. Fine, then we will meet you at the clan training ground in 20 minutes. Fugaku responded to the Uchiha Chunin as he turned and walked back into the house, Naruto and the others following him. So Naruto, I bet Kushina would be really proud of what you did out there. Makoto asked. I wouldn't know, Mrs. Uchiha. No, if you will excuse me, I must prepare. Naruto replied. All the Uchiha noticed the look of sadness as he walked by them to the patio outside. Itachi gave Yugao a glance before he followed Naruto outside. Let me explain. Yugao stated. The short version is, Naruto was told just today by Kushina that he was too weak to practice any form of kenjutsu and has constantly been abandoned to his own training for the sake of the twins. But when Itachi was about to go talk to the Hokage about his mistreatment of Naruto today, Naruto stopped him and told him to please not go, since he felt that all it would accomplish was his parents think he was jealous of his younger siblings. Yugao recited the story. The Uchiha family stood there for a moment in shock. How could Kushina say something like that about her own son? Makoto asked. I don't know, but I do know that Naruto's goal is to surpass his father and mother and show them the mistake they made. Yugao stated. Naruto, what is that? Itachi yelled. The group looked at each other for a minute, puzzled, before running outside. Itachi was holding Naruto's hands with what looked like tattoos covering them. Relax, Itachi, they are seals. Naruto responded. Well, if they're seals, then what do they do? Itachi asked. Well, right now I have 4, one on each extremity, and each one of them is a gravity seal. Naruto responded. Who taught you this? Itachi asked. No one, I taught myself by reading about seals whenever I could. Naruto responded. Okay, well, we better get going. Itachi said. Where is Sasuke? Naruto asked. He stayed home to look after Akari and his younger sister. Makoto responded. Younger sister? Naruto asked. Oh, Itachi and Sasuke forgot to tell you, I guess. Hana is the youngest of our 3 children and is the same age as Akari. I hope they become friends like Kushina and I once were. Makoto responded. Akari will need friends to help her get through what our parents are going to put her through. Naruto stated. Naruto, why won't you let Itachi talk to your father about how you are being treated? Makoto asked. Because I don't want someone else to make my father and mother realize their mistake. I will become strong one day, and when I do, I want to see their faces when they realize their mistake. Naruto responded. Well, are you ready for the duel? Makoto asked. I will be in a second. Naruto stated as he took off his fingerless Tekko. Seal release. Naruto said. What did you just do? Makoto asked. I just released my 4 gravity seals. Naruto said as he slid his fingerless Tekko back on. Makoto noticed that the markings on his hands were gone. Sasuke said, you were already pretty fast, do always fight with those on? Makoto asked. Yes, I have yet to spar without them. Naruto responded. How much do they weigh? Makoto asked. Well, when I first started they were about 5 pounds each, but over the last 2 years I have increased the weight. No, they about 25 pounds each. Naruto responded. That's unbelievable, a kid your age already carrying an extra 100 pounds. You could do some serious damage to your body. Why would you be willing to do that? Makoto asked. I am going to become faster than my father in my own way. I don't want to learn the Flying Thunder God technique because I don't want to be remembered as my father's shadow or copy. I want to be strong on my own. Naruto responded as he turned and started to walk into the training ground. Be careful, Makoto yelled as Naruto entered the sparring field. I will. Naruto responded. You ready to see what an Uchiha can do? The Uchiha Chunin asked. Before we begin, what is your name? Naruto asked. I might tell you if you can land a hit on me during our fight. The Uchiha Chunin replied. You seem awfully. Naruto stated. Well, you don't possess a Kekkei Genkai, and even if you did, none is greater than the Sharingan. The Uchiha Chunin stated. That arrogance will be your downfall. Those that try to believe they are greater than all others are usually weaker than most. But those such as Itachi that believe that there is always a person better than them will continue to grow stronger. Naruto responded as he drew Kokushibayo. Well then let's go. The Uchiha Chunin said as he activated the Uchiha instantly charged him and landed a hard kick to Naruto's ribs. But what happened next no one could have predicted. Before anyone could blink they saw the Uchiha fly back about 10 feet. Then Naruto appeared in front of the Uchiha and pointed his sword towards the Uchiha's neck. I'll take that name now. Naruto stated. It's Izuna Uchiha. The Uchiha Chunin responded. Fitting name considering you are blind to anything except for your clan and your belief that you are the strongest because of to whom you were born. Naruto stated as he took his sword away from his throat and offered him a hand. What's your name? Izuna asked. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto responded. Well, that explains how you beat me. I bet your father does a lot of training with you. Izuna stated. Actually, to tell you the truth, he doesn't train me at all. Naruto responded as he started walking off the field. Where do you think you're going? We aren't done yet. Izuna stated. Yes we are. I knocked you to the ground. I proved everything I needed to. Naruto responded. So you admit that you are not as good as the Uchiha elite? Izuna asked. Depends on who you qualify as elite. If it's Itachi, yes, but if it's you, no, heck, even Sasuke can put up more of a fight than you. Naruto responded. Why don't you come out here and prove it then? Izuna stated. Because all I have to do is this. Naruto stated as he made a series of hand signs and said seal activate. Suddenly Izuna's body went rigid as Fuinjutsu seals spread over his body. What did you do? Izuna asked as he stared at Naruto. When I hit you back after you kicked me, I place a seal on your body. I call it a restriction seal. It sealed away your chakra, and due to adding lightning chakra to the seal it cuts off your nervous system. Naruto stated as he continued to walk off the field. You cheated. Izuna yelled. No, I just used the thing between my ears. The most powerful weapon a ninja has in his arsenal, something called a brain. How you managed to achieve Chunin without using yours is a miracle. Naruto responded as he finally made it to side of the training ground. 5 minutes later, Itachi's house. Sasuke walked out the door to the house. So did you win? Sasuke asked. Do you have so little faith in me, Sasuke? Of course I won. Naruto responded as they walked into the house. I knew you would win, just didn't know how beat up you were going to be after the fight, but you look all right. Sasuke responded. Yeah, well, I think the one kick Izuna landed at least cracked my ribs. Naruto responded. Naruto, will you come with me? Makoto asked. Yes, Mrs. Uchiha. Naruto responded as he followed her into a side room. Naruto, let me see your ribs, I might be able to help you. Makoto said as she closed the door. Naruto lifted up his shirt showing her his heavily bruised ribs, but as Makoto examined the ribs she saw Fuinjutsu jutsu marks all over his body. Naruto, take off your shirt. Makoto commanded. Naruto took off his shirt. What do these seals do? Makoto asked as she began to apply a salve to Naruto's ribs. They continuously send out my chakra, thus allowing me to work on increasing the size of my chakra coils even when I am sitting down. Naruto stated. Aren't you afraid of the damage your training methods could cause you? Makoto asked. No, I am not, because I know that to be a good shinobi you must have good basics. Naruto responded. Then suddenly they heard a knock at the door. Makoto went to answer the door as Naruto slipped on his shirt and stepped into the hallway. Makoto walked up to Naruto. That was an Anbu sent by your mother. She wants you and Akari to come home straight away. Makoto said. Okay, thank you for inviting us over. Naruto said as he picks up Akari and puts her on his shoulders and opens the door to leave. Naruto, I appreciate what you did today. You should come around more often. Fugaku stated. Thank you, I will. Naruto responded as he walked out the door. 30 minutes later, Namikaze compound. Naruto walked up to the door carrying in his arms Akari, who had fallen asleep on the way back. He walked in to see Kushina talking to Lady Tsunade. Oh Naruto, can you please walk Lady Tsunade back to her compound? Kushina asked as she took Akari from Naruto's arms. Of course, mother. Naruto responded as Kushina began walking towards Akari's room. Well Naruto, shall we be on our way? Tsunade asked as Kushina disappeared into Akari's room. Yes, of course, Lady Tsunade. Naruto responded as he politely bowed. Please just Tsunade. So how is my godson doing? Tsunade asked. It's been going very well. Naruto responded. I see you have a sword. So I guess Kushina started training you. Tsunade asked. No, mom doesn't have time to train me, she is too busy training the twins. Naruto responded with a dark shadow covering his face. Well, I am sure if you asked her she would be willing to train you. Tsunade stated. I already did. Naruto responded. And? Tsunade asked. She said I was too weak, though if she had thought about it she would have realized I've been practicing Kenjutsu for 3 years now. Naruto responded as he picked up the pace. Tsunade stopped walking. So that's why you don't train with Mema and Mito. You parents don't think you're strong enough. Tsunade asked. That is correct, though I don't need for their help anymore, I have found others to train with. Naruto responded as he continued to walk down the street. Naruto, this isn't right, your parents are showing blatant favoritism and you're just willing to accept that. Tsunade asked. No, I don't accept it, but I know what lies inside my brother and I know he will need all the help he can get. I just look forward today that my parents realize all the progress I made was on my own 2 feet without any help from them. But rather help from people that see that I am more than just the 4th Hokage's oldest son. Naruto responded. So other than Kenjutsu, what are you learning? Tsunade asked. I just work on chakra control and Fuinjutsu, which reminds me I developed a new theory for a new type of Fuinjutsu. I want you to look over the notes. Naruto stated as he took out a scroll from his pouch and handed it to Tsunade. Okay, but I am not sure that I would be the best person to look over notes on Fuinjutsu. Tsunade responded. You misunderstand the Fuinjutsu part of my theory I know works, it's the medical part of my theory that I want you to check. If my theory is correct, it would allow someone of high genin chakra control to heal another ninja's injuries up to broken bones. Naruto responded. How could that be possible? Tsunade asked. It's simple, the Fuinjutsu acts like a IV drip, it takes the chakra the user puts into it and makes sure that the user doesn't put too much chakra into the wound. Naruto responded. Okay, fine. By the way, why don't you practice ninjutsu? Tsunade asked as they arrived. Do you have a piece of chakra paper? Naruto asked. Yes, I do, but why? Tsunade responded as she took a piece of chakra paper out of her pocket. It would be easier if I just showed you. Naruto stated as he took the piece of chakra paper. Tsunade watched as Naruto pumped his chakra into the paper and watched as the paper cut itself down the middle and caught fire simultaneously, then the bits that were left shriveled up. Could it be possible? Tsunade wondered in her head. Would you mind if I took a sample of your blood? Tsunade asked. Not at all. Naruto responded as he stuck out his arm and Tsunade drew his blood. Naruto turned around and walked home. Naruto woke up and got a shower. What should I do today? Naruto thought in his head as he got out of the shower. Naruto decided to go visit Neji, Tenten, and Lee. He would stop by Tenten's family shop first to pick up his gift for Lee. 15 minutes later, Naruto walked into Tenten's family shop to Tenten sitting at the main register. Hey Naruto, how are things going? Tenten asked as Naruto walked up to the register. Things are going well. Do you have that order I put in for? Naruto asked. Let me check. Tenten responded as she turned around and walked into the back of the shop. Here they are, Tenten said after a few seconds of looking, then walked out with her father walking behind her. Thanks Tenten, I appreciate it. Naruto said as he took the weights and put them in his backpack. Tenten, why don't you take the rest of the day off since you've been working so hard lately? Her father stated. Are you sure it's okay, father? Tenten asked. Yes, I'm sure, no, go have fun with your friends. Her father responded. If you want to, Tenten, I haven't ate breakfast, you could join me. Naruto stated. I would like that very much. Tenten responded. As they began to walk out of the store, Tenten's father yelled out. Naruto, make sure to take care of my daughter. I would die before I let anything happen to her. Naruto responded with a look on his face that made it clear he wasn't joking. So what do you want to do, Tenten? Naruto asked as they started walking to a nearby food stand. Well, I don't have any plans for the day, so I was wondering if I could hang out with you. Tenten asked. Sure, I don't mind, I'm going to go see Lee and Neji. Then I have to go babysit my little sister. Naruto responded. Alright, sounds good to me, I've never met your little sister. Tenten responded. So how are things with your family, Naruto? Tenten asked as they arrived at the stand and ordered their food. Mema and Mito are doing very well with their training. Dad's always complaining about paperwork. Mom's usually training Mito and Mema. Naruto responded. That's not what I meant and you know it. How are they treating you? Tenten asked as their food was brought to them and they continued to walk towards Lee's house. Same as usual, they are too busy with the twins to bother with Akari and I. Naruto responded. How can you stand it, Naruto? You are the top-ranked student in our class and they still ignore you. Tenten asked. I don't, Tenten, I want you to know why I am always with Itachi and his family. It's because I sometimes can't stand to look at my parents. Some days it feels like Makoto and Fugaku are more like parents to Akari and I than our own. But at the end of the day I know they aren't. I just have to hope that someday my parents will notice us. Naruto responded. Well, enough about my life, how's the shop doing? Naruto asked. It's going well, Dad, and I haven't had a problem supporting ourselves off of the weapons we sell. Tenten responded. That's good to hear. How are things with Neji? Naruto asked. With this, Tenten's face blushed. What do you mean? Tenten responded. Come on, Tenten, I know you like him. Naruto answered. How did you know? Tenten asked. Tenten, you always act so uptight around like you're afraid that you're going to mess up. Naruto stated. Have you at least asked him out? Naruto asked. No, I don't think he would like me. Tenten responded. Tenten, let me tell you something, Neji might not show it, but he needs someone to be there for him as more than a friend. His mother died giving birth to him and his father sacrificed himself to those Kumo bastards so that his brother the clan head could live. My point is, if someone doesn't help him, I'm afraid he could travel down a very dark path, one that will only isolate him more. But the choice is yours whether you decide to tell Neji your true feelings. Naruto stated. And I don't know what happened to Neji's mother, but for the sake of this story I am saying she died. I'll tell him my true feelings if you fight me in front of your parents today. Tenten responded. Naruto shuddered at this. I didn't say this was a negotiation. Naruto stated. Who said I was negotiating? Tenten responded with a sly grin across his face as they arrived at Lee's house. Okay, fine deal. Naruto responded as he knocked on the door. The door opened to find Lee standing there in his usual workout attire, shorts and a sleeveless t-shirt. Oh hi guys, what are you two doing here? Lee asked as he stepped aside to allow us into his house. Just thought we would come by and visit our hard-working friend and see how he was doing. Naruto responded as he stepped into the house. Naruto stepped into the almost empty house and shuddered, remembering that his friend didn't have any family since his parents were both killed by Nine Tails. Lee had grown up on his own. The only reason he was able to support himself was because he always did chores around the neighborhood on a daily basis to earn money. And I put this paragraph in to explain Lee's backstory in my story. So what brings you two to my house? Lee asked. Well, I thought I should bring my friend an early birthday present. Naruto responded as he reached in his bag and pulled out the weights and handed them to Lee. By the way, I also made a lifetime agreement with Tenten's father for the weights, so you won't have to worry about buying extra weights. Naruto added as Lee took the weights from his hand. Thank you for the gift, I really appreciate it. Lee responded. Well, sorry guys, but I got to get back to work. Lee stated as he put the weights on and started walking to the door. That's fine Lee, but you will have to come out and eat with Naruto and I later this week. We will also see if Neji can come. Tenten responded as her and Naruto walked out the door. Sounds like a plan, see you guys then. Lee responded as he waved goodbye and started running down the street. Well Tenten, shall we go on to our favorite Hyuga's house? Naruto asked. Yes, I think that would be a good idea. Tenten responded as they started walking towards the Hyuga compound. 5 minutes later, Hyuga compound. Who are you here to see? Hiyashi asked Naruto as they happened to walk up to the gate at the same time. Hiyashi had been at a council meeting and was now returning home. We are going to see Neji. Naruto responded. Okay, well, after you're done over there make sure to stop by my house, I have something I must discuss with you, Naruto. Hiyashi responded. That's fine, Tenten has something she needs to discuss with Neji in private anyway, so I will come by after I drop her off at Neji's. Naruto stated. That sounds good, I look forward to your visit. Hiyashi responded. As do I, Lord Hiyashi. Naruto stated as he bowed and walked away towards Neji's house. I am using English representations for the titles since I am not very good with the proper Japanese titles. Don't forget about your end of the bargain. Tenten stated. I won't, but out of all the things you could have chosen, why that? Naruto asked. I am hoping that if your parents see you fight then they might pay more attention to you. Tenten answered. Okay, we will try your idea. Naruto responded with a dark look on his face. Why don't you believe it will work? Tenten asked. I've learned not to expect much when it comes my parents doing stuff with Akari and I. Naruto responded. Well, hopefully after today that will change. Tenten stated as they walked up to Neji's house. They knocked on the door and heard Neji come and answer it. Oh, it's you guys, come on in. Neji said as he opened the door and stepped to the side to allow them in. Go ahead Tenten, I'll be by to pick you up after my meeting with Lord Hiashi. Naruto responded as he began to walk back towards Lord Hiyashi's house. 5 minutes later, Lord Hiyashi's house. Halt and state your business with Lord Hiashi. One of Hiyashi's main gate guards shouted. Lord Hiashi told me he had something he wanted to talk to me about personally. Naruto responded. What is your name? The gate guard asked. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. Naruto answered. I am so sorry, I didn't realize it was the fourth son. The guard had stated as he opened the gate and bowed to Naruto on his knees. Don't bow to me, Naruto said as he walked through the gate and picked up the guard. But I should bow to you. The guard stated. Maybe to my father but not to me, I have not earned that right. Naruto responded. I see you met one of my guards. Hiashi said as he walked up to Naruto. Yes, I was just explaining to him why he should not bow to me. Naruto responded. Come Naruto, let us walk and talk together. Hiashi said as he motioned Naruto down a side trail. I was wondering if you had any ideas as to what I can do regarding my oldest daughter. Hiashi stated. Ideas for what? Naruto asked. The elders have ordered me to name Hanabi the clan heir due to her superb use of the gentle fist technique, and I need help getting Hinata past the wall she has run into in her training. Hiashi responded as they exited the Hyuga compound and continued to walk through the streets of the village. If there is anyone that can get her past this wall in her training, it is Neji. Naruto responded. Neji, surely there must be someone else. Hiashi stated. There is no one that understands the gentle fist better than Neji, and that includes main and branch families. Naruto responded. But he will never forgive me for his father's death. Hiashi responded with a downcast look on his face. I think he will if you do as I say. Naruto stated. Hiashi sighed. Okay, what do I need to do? Hiashi asked. Bring him over to your house and raise him as your own son. Naruto said simply. I wanted to do that years ago, but the Hyuga clan council wouldn't let me, and I doubt that's changed. Hiashi stated. Naruto took off his backpack and reached and pulled out a manila folder. This should help with that, Naruto said as he handed the folder to Hiashi. Hiashi opened the fold and stared at the contacts. This kid is wiser beyond his years. Note to self, never get on this kid's bad side. Hiashi closed the file as they reached the top of the Hokage monument. A.N. This will be explained in greater detail during the Chunin exam arc, what is in the folder and how Naruto obtained it. Now Lord Hiashi, can we get down to the real reason you wanted to talk to me? Oh, by the way, you can tell you guards to stop hiding, it is not working. Naruto said as he turned to look at Hiashi. As Naruto said this, a ninja appeared by Hiyashi's side and bowed to both of them, bringing a scowl on Naruto's face. Lord Hiashi, this area is safe to talk in. The ninja said. It is an honor to meet the son of the fourth. The ninja said as he turned and bowed to Naruto. Don't bow to me, I am not my father. Naruto said as he helped the ninja to his feet, then the ninja quickly disappeared. Why do you refuse to be bowed to? Hiashi asked. They bowed you to who my father is, not you to who I am. Naruto said in a slightly darker voice. Well Naruto, are you aware of the conditions of the branch families? Hiashi asked. If you speak of the caged bird seal, then yes, I have. Why'd ask? Naruto asked. Do you wish to get rid of the seal? Hiashi asked. Yes, of course I want, it causes my friend pain. Naruto responded. How about you create a new seal that just prevents the eyes from being stolen? Hiashi stated. I could do that if I had the seal formula for the caged bird seal. Naruto responded. Well then, I think this should help you with that. Hiashi stated as he pulled out a scroll and handed it to Naruto and began to walk towards the Hyuga compound. I enjoyed our visit Naruto. I hope to talk to you again soon. Hiyashi said as he disappeared from sight. Naruto waited a few minutes and began to walk to Neji's house. 15 minutes later, Neji's house. Naruto walked up and knocked on Neji's door. Both Tenten and Neji answered. Oh, Naruto, done with your meeting already, I see. Tenten stated with a slight blush evident on your face. Yes, I need to get back home so I can babysit Akari. Naruto stated. Alright, I'll come with you. See you later, Neji. Tenten said as she turned, gave Neji a kiss on the cheek and then followed after Naruto as they started walking in the direction of the Namikaze compound. So I see things went well with Neji. Naruto stated. Yes, I guess they did. So what did Lord Hiyashi want to talk to you about? Tenten asked with a slight blush. I don't want to tell you, but by the end of all this Neji's life will be much better. Naruto responded as they continued their walk towards the Namikaze compound. 15 minutes later, Namikaze compound. Big brother, Akari shouted as she ran up to Naruto. Naruto picked her up and put her on his shoulders, smiling at his little sister's enthusiasm. So who's watching you right now? Naruto asked. Lady Tsunade is watching me. Akari answered as they walked in the house. Hey Naruto, how is your day going? Tsunade asked as she spotted him walk through the door. Very well actually. Where is mom and the twins? Naruto asked. They should be coming in for lunch anytime now. Tsunade responded. As she said this, Kushina and the twins walked through the door excited for lunch. Big brother. The twins shouted and ran to receive a hug from Naruto. Naruto put Akari down and hugged both of the twins. Tsunade smiled at the sight. So how is your training going? Naruto asked. Great, mom gave us our first swords today. Mema responded. Oh, do you mind if I see them? Naruto asked as Tsunade noticed a slight look of pain cross Naruto's face for a brief second and then quickly disappear. Not at all, the twins responded as they pulled their swords and handed them to Naruto. Mema's sword had a dark blue blade and a black hilt. Mito's sword had a light red blade and a black hilt as well. They are very good swords, they will serve you well. Naruto said as he handed them back their swords. Big brother, can we see yours? Mema asked as he pointed to Kokushibayo. I've never seen that sword before. Minato must have ordered it for him. Kushina thought in her head. Sure, here you go. Naruto said as he drew Kokushibayo and handed to Mema. Why is it so long? I don't see how you could use the Uzumaki style with this long of a sword. Mema stated. You make a good point, Mema. If I used the Uzumaki style. In fact, now that I think about it, I couldn't learn the Uzumaki style anymore, at least in its most pure form. I would have to combine it with the Ijutsu and the Kendo my Yugao sensei has been teaching me. Naruto stated as Mema handed him back the sword and Naruto sheathed it. Naruto, why don't you come with me and we order you a sword that better fits your style? Kushina stated as she motioned Naruto to the door. Naruto put on a scowl. You mean your style that you called me too weak to use? I am sorry to inform you, mother, but I asked to be taught the Uzumaki style a long time ago and you refused me, and I am actually glad I didn't learn it because I met Yugao sensei. By the way, this sword was her father's, and even if this sword didn't fit my style perfectly, I would make it work. Also, by giving me this sword gave me the greatest honor a sensei can give her student, showing that I am not just her student but an honorary member of her clan. Naruto stated, finishing his rant. Naruto, you did not ask if this was alright. You could be the head of the clan one day and it would look bad if you were adopted into another clan. Now give me the sword. Kushina, her voice rising as she stuck out her hand. Naruto chuckled. Do you take me for a fool, mother? A year ago father signed a document that made Mema the head of the Namikaze clan and Mito the head of the Uzumaki clan, removing from being able to be the clan head for either clan. And before you ask how I found out, all I'm going to tell you is have many friends in many places. Naruto stated. No, if you'll excuse me, mother, I have to go blow off some steam. Naruto stated as he walked towards the door. I am not done with you, young man. Kushina yelled as she walked up to slap Naruto. Suddenly Tsunade grabbed her hand. Enough, Kushina, Tsunade stated in a cold voice. Naruto, you don't have to worry about keeping your promise to me. Tenten said as she walked up besides Naruto. Thank you for everything you have done for Neji and I. Tenten stated as she headed for the door on the verge of tears after seeing what Naruto had to deal with. Tenten, wait, I'll walk you home. Naruto stated as he grabbed her wrist. There is no need, you have done enough for me in one day what would have taken me years to do myself. Tenten stated as she gave her friend a hug and walked out of the compound. Naruto walked out the door to watch his friend leave. Naruto, I have something I want to give you, Tsunade said as she took the Shodai necklace off her neck and put it around Naruto's neck. I also request you become my student. Do you accept? Tsunade asked. Yes, I do, Naruto responded. As Tsunade walked into the training ground at the Senju estate with Akari at her side, Tsunade couldn't help think about the last 2 years and the 2 virtually abandoned children that had changed her life. Naruto had taken to medical ninjutsu and strength training better than Tsunade could have ever dreamed. As her and Akari walked into the clearing to see Naruto lying on the ground passed out with slashed targets lying all over the place, Tsunade chuckled. How lucky can I be to have a student that doesn't just have natural talent but also a drive that was second barely to Rock Lee? Tsunade thought in her head. Tsunade looked at Akari and put a figure to her lips to tell Akari to be quiet as she walked over to Naruto and picked him up. She looked down at him and then looked over to Akari. These 2 might not have been born from me, but they are my children, Tsunade thought as she remembered last year at Mother's Day. She looked down at her right wrist and saw the beautiful silver bracelet with a light brown gem that matched her eyes they had bought her on Mother's Day. Of course they bought something for Kushina too, but it didn't come anywhere near what they had bought Tsunade. The thought also reminded her of the void between Naruto, Akari, and their parents. Naruto and Akari both moved in with Tsunade shortly after the incident with Kushina 2 years ago, and neither of the parents seemed to noticed. It made Tsunade's blood boil just thinking about it. Tsunade carried Naruto back to her compound and laid him down on his bed and watched as Akari slid in and cuddled next to him. Tsunade smiled at her children and walked out of the room, shutting off the light. 2 hours later, Naruto woke up to find Akari clamped around his midsection sleeping peacefully. Naruto smiled at his sister and quickly made some hand signs and replaced himself with a pillow and quietly snuck out of the room. Naruto walked down the hallway and into a room that served as his work room. Naruto walked over to the desk and picked up a Fuinjutsu scroll that was lying on his desk. Finally, after 2 years, it's finally ready, Naruto thought in his head as he put the scroll in his pants pocket and walked out of the room. Naruto walked into the kitchen to find Tsunade making sandwiches for lunch. Looks good, Mom, Naruto stated as he stood in the kitchen doorway. Just clearing stuff. Naruto has started calling Tsunade mother since she took him and Akari in. Hey Naruto, have a nice nap, asked Tsunade as she finished making the sandwiches. Yes, I did, Naruto answered as he walked up to Tsunade and gave her a hug. As Naruto did this, Tsunade couldn't help but notice how much more muscular and defined Naruto's body had become in the past 2 years. I am going to have a meeting with Lord Hiashi and then I am going to visit Yugao-sensei. I should be back by dinner, Naruto said as he picked up a sandwich and headed for the door. Okay, just please be back, for since we will have guests coming tonight and they be spending the next couple of days with us, Tsunade responded as Naruto headed out the door. 15 minutes later, Hyuga compound. Who are you here to see, Naruto? Asked the gate guard at the Hyuga clan compound. I have an appointment with Lord Hiashi, Naruto responded as he walked through the gate. It's a pleasure to see you are well, my old friend, Neji said as he stood next to the gate waiting for Naruto. Come with me, I will take you to my uncle, Neji stated as he motioned Naruto to follow. Neji had lost all resentment for his uncle after he was taken in by his uncle and had willingly chosen to help Hinata improve her gentle fist over the last 2 years. Now she was battling Mito for top Kunoichi in her class. Neji led Naruto to the top of the Hokage heads where Lord Hiashi stood. Thank you, Neji, you may leave us and head back to the house, Lord Hiashi said as he motioned Neji to leave. So you have finished the seal after 2 long years, Hiashi as he and Naruto stood on top of the heads looking out over the village. Yes, here it is. My only condition is I don't want you to tell anyone who the creator of the seal was, Naruto stated as he handed the scroll to Hiashi. Okay, deal, but promise me if you ever need help with anything you will come and ask the Hyuga clan for help, Lord Hiashi responded. I will, Lord Hiashi, I promise. No, if you will excuse me, I have somewhere I need to go, Naruto as he bowed and shunshined away. Hiashi stood there for a moment in shock. He can already shunshine at such a young age. Just how strong are you, Naruto? Hiashi thought as he turned and headed toward the Hyuga compound. 1 hour later, Yugao's house. Naruto walked up to Yugao's front door and knocked on the door. Naruto, it's good to see you come in. There is someone I want you to meet. Yugao said as she opened the door and motioned Naruto inside. Naruto walked into the living room and sat down on the couch. Yoruichi, come in here please. Yugao yelled. Coming. A voice responded. A purple-haired girl with dark skin and golden eyes walked in. Naruto, I would like you to meet my cousin Yoruichi, who will now be living with me. Yoruichi, this is Naruto, my apprentice I was telling you about. Yugao explained. It's a pleasure to meet you Naruto, my aunt has told me quite a bit about you. I hope we can get to know each other better. Yoruichi stated as she extended her hand out to Naruto. It's a pleasure to meet you too, maybe we can get together and hang out. Naruto responded as he shook Yoruichi's hand. Actually Naruto, I am heading out on a mission, and if it was okay with Lady Tsunade, if Yoruichi could stay with you for a couple of days. Yugao asked. I am sure it will be fine. If you can pack up your stuff you can walk home with me Yoruichi. Naruto responded. Okay, I will go get my stuff. Yoruichi said as she disappeared back to her room. Thank you Naruto, I really didn't want to leave her to herself due to recent events. Yugao said as her face developed a look of sorrow. Anyway, I got to go, duty calls. Yugao responded as she shunshined away heading out on her mission. I am ready to go. Yoruichi said as she walked into the living room with a backpack and a black kodachi strapped to her hip. All right, follow me, Naruto said as he walked out and held open the door for Yoruichi. So Naruto, who is your father? Yoruichi asked. Why do you ask? Naruto responded. Well, Yugao described Lady Tsunade as your mother, but I checked and she is not married, so I am curious who your father is. Yoruichi stated as Naruto came to a stop in the middle of the street. Well, Lady Tsunade is not my blood mother, my actual parents are right in front of me. Naruto answered and pointed at a blonde and redhead standing there with 2 kids and 3 others. Naruto motioned Yoruichi to follow him as he walked towards the group. Good after Lord Hokage, and also to you Lady Kushina, Naruto said as he approached the group. Naruto, no need for such formalities with us. How is your training at the academy going? Kushina asked. It is going well, I am tied at the top of the class with Neji Hyuga mother. Naruto responded. Yoruichi noticed the sad look Naruto had in his eyes at having to call Kushina mother. Really, what a coincidence, both Mito and Mema are also tied for the top of the class. Minato responded as he smiled in pride at the twins. Yes, Hinata has become a great kunoichi. But Sasuke is by all rights a prodigy and could become a ninja greater than even his brother. Though I am confident that if the 2 of you work hard enough you can both become even greater. Naruto responded. You speak as if you know the 2 of them well. Mema stated. As a matter of fact I do, since I have played crucial parts in both their training. Naruto stated. Why would you help train them and not us? Is it because you don't like us? Mito asked. No, I would never do that. I left your training to others because there is so little I can offer you. Oh, and by the way, here are presents for your birthday tomorrow. Naruto said as he pulled out a package for each of them. They both opened the packages to find a set of vambraces for each of them. These markings on the side allow you to seal things inside them and also allow you to summon them much quicker than storage scrolls. Naruto said as he explained the unique perks these arm vambraces had. Kushina picked one of the vambraces up and inspected the seals on it. Naruto, who did you get to make these? They must be very skilled in fuinjutsu. Kushina stated. It was I who made them and put the seals on them, mother. Naruto responded. Who taught you how to make seals? Kushina asked after recovering from the shock that her son could perform fuinjutsu. No one taught me, I taught myself with a little help from Lady Tsunade's clan library. Naruto responded as he said. A puff of smoke appeared in the group and out walked the toad sage Jiraiya. Uncle Jiraiya, the twins yelled as they jumped on him. Hey brats, it's good to see you. Jiraiya responded. Naruto began to walk towards 3 younger Jonin that stood next to his father. I assume that you 3 must be Kakashi, Obito, and Rin, my father's former genin team. Naruto said as he extended his hand. Yes, we are. It is a pleasure to finally meet you, Naruto. Rin responded as she shook Naruto's hand. I am going to guess that the reason I have not met you 3 before is that you were all on a long-term mission. Naruto stated. That is very perceptive of you, Naruto. Not many kids of your age would deduce that from the clues given. Kakashi responded. While all this was going on, Kushina stood there in silence thinking of what her son had just told her. So what are you all doing out and about? Naruto asked as the group continued walking through the village. We are heading to the gate to meet the Raikage and Tsuchikage. Minato responded. Trying to end the long-term hostilities, I presume. Naruto responded. That is very insightful of you, Naruto. Minato responded as they arrived at the gate. Oh, look, here they come now. Minato said as he saw a large group of ninjas nearing the gate. Naruto saw a tall dark-skinned man and an ancient floating man approach the gate. Lord Raikage and Lord Tsuchikage, I would like to welcome to the village hidden in the leaves. Minato said as Naruto walked up next to Minato as he greeted his fellow Kages. I hope you can forgive me, Lord Hokage, but I decided to bring along a new Kage that also wishes to form an allegiance with your village and mine. I present to you the 5th Mizukage of the village hidden in the mist. Onoki said as a tall lean man with auburn hair stepped up beside him. It's a pleasure to meet you, Lord Mizukage. I hope to get to know you better over the course of these negotiations. Minato stated as he looked at the man curiously. Out of curiosity, how much does your village know about me? The Mizukage asked. Maru Terumi, leader of the former rebel forces of the Hidden Mist. Most famous for your use of the Water Dragon Hydra Ninjutsu, a derivative the Water Dragon Jutsu made famous by the second Hokage. He used this jutsu to kill Yagura, the 4th Mizukage, and Three Tails Jinchuriki. Also possesses Lava Release, Boil Release, and is master of Kenjutsu. Currently only has one living relative in the form of a younger sister who also possessed 2 bloodlines. Naruto said fast before anyone had a chance to respond. The 4 Kages and even Jiraiya stared at him in shock. How was he able to find out all that? Even my spies could only find out his name, much less his preferred jutsu or family members. Jiraiya thought. Well, someone knows how to gather intelligence well. What is your name, boy? The Mizukage asked. My name is Nato Uzumaki Namikaze, the oldest son of the 4th Hokage. Naruto responded. I guess that makes you the clan heir. The Mizukage stated. No, Lord Mizukage, that would be my twin siblings Mito and Mema. Naruto responded. As Naruto said this, they heard a shout and Akari ran up and hugged Naruto with Tsunade, Sasuke, Itachi, Fugaku, and Makoto following behind. Hey little sister, how are doing? Naruto asked as he bent down and hugged Akari. Good, mom said that she needed to go to the gate to pick up our guests, so I decided to tag along. Then we ran into Hana's family, but she wasn't with them. If it's okay with mom and Lady Uchiha, do you think I could go over to play? Akari responded, then asked as they broke their hug. Naruto looked at Makoto and Tsunade as they nodded their head. She called Tsunade mom. Why would that be? The Kages and Kushina wondered. Yes, Akari, of course, you can just remember to behave, and when you get back I will help with your training. Naruto stated. Sasuke, come over here, I got something for you. Naruto said as he threw Sasuke a scroll. What is it? Sasuke asked. Well, unseal it and find out. Naruto responded. Sasuke unsealed the scroll and revealed a black sword with a black and red scabbard with the Uchiha clan symbol on it. It looks basically like Sasuke's sword from the anime. Consider it a graduation gift. Naruto said. But brother Sasuke won't graduate until next year. Mema stated. Usually you would be right, Mema, but Makoto, Itachi, and myself have decided to have Sasuke graduate a year early. Fugaku responded. Are you sure that is wise, Fugaku? We are not at war. What is the rush to get Sasuke out of the academy? Minato responded, then asked. Sasuke wants to be on the same team as Naruto since the two of them have been working together since they were 6 years old, and I believe he is easily the best teammate for Sasuke. Fugaku responded. I did not realize Naruto and Sasuke were so close, but although Naruto is tied for Rookie of the Year, all my results show that Naruto is nowhere near Sasuke in terms of skill and talent. Are you sure you want Sasuke on Naruto's team? Minato stated, then asked. Don't say that about big brother, he works harder than anyone. He usually falls asleep in the training ground after he has worked all day at the academy. Akari yelled, shocking everyone present. Kushina made a beeline for Akari, but everyone's surprised Naruto stepped in front of Kushina. Sasuke, please get Akari out of here, Naruto said as he stared his mother straight in the eye. Sasuke quickly grabbed Akari and sprinted off onto the rooftops. Naruto, you had no right to stand between me and Akari, Kushina yelled as she flared her chakra. To everyone's surprise, Naruto didn't even flinch and just smirked. You know, Lady Kushina, you and I always end up opposing each other, and if you think I don't know what you plan to do to Akari, you are wrong. Naruto responded. Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze, you will show me respect. Kushina yelled at Naruto as she said this. Naruto's smile dropped and his chakra spiked. Respect for what? The mother that wouldn't train her own son because she believes him to be weak. You know what, Lady Kushina, I will give you a look at my latest jutsu. Naruto said as he walked over to a nearby tree and punched it. What happened shocked Kushina and everyone except Tsunade. A huge crater appeared in the tree where Naruto's punch had landed. Let that be a lesson to you, Lady Kushina. If you ever threaten Akari again, be prepared because I won't hold back. Naruto stated, and to emphasize his point Naruto flared his chakra even higher. Such high chakra reserves at his age should only be possible for a Jinchuriki. Lord Raikage thought in his head. Suddenly a blonde-haired girl flanked by two other girls approached the Raikage. Lord Raikage, my tenant informed me that it would not be wise to make enemies with this boy. The girl stated. As Naruto heard this, he cut off his chakra and approached the foreign cages. I am sorry for the intrusion, my lords. If you will please follow me, I am sure you are tired from your long journey. Naruto responded. Naruto, we did not finish our talk. Kushina stated as she walked towards him and reared her hand back to slap him, but before she could bring it down, Tsunade and Makoto both grabbed a hold of her arm. You will not harm Naruto. Tsunade stated as Minato stepped up to his wife. Kushina, stop, you are making a scene. Minato whispered. He then approached Naruto. We will talk about this later. Minato whispered to Naruto. No, we won't, Lord Hokage. Naruto whispered back. My fellow cages, if you will please follow Naruto and Tsunade, they will lead you to your accommodations. Minato stated. 10 minutes later, Senju Mansion. Well, why don't you all introduce us to the rest of your group? Tsunade said as they asked the three cages as they walked into the front room of the compound. Well, this is my sister Mai Terumi. She will be graduating from our academy this year. The Mizukage said as he motioned to a auburn-haired girl with green eyes. This is my granddaughter Kuritsuchi. She will also be graduating from our academy this year. The Tsuchikage said as he motioned to a black-haired and black-eyed girl. This is my adopted daughter Yugito-ni. She will also be graduating from our academy this year. The Raikage said as he motioned to a blonde-haired black-eyed girl. This is my son Naruto Uzumaki Namikaze. He will be graduating from the academy this year. Tsunade said as she motioned to Naruto. This my friend Yoruichi Azuki. She will be graduating the academy with me. Naruto finished as he motioned to Yoruichi. Now that that's done, Naruto, would you please show the girls to their room? Tsunade asked. Sure, mom, but afterwards I am going to go blow off some steam in the training ground, so don't wait on me for dinner. Naruto stated as he gave Tsunade a hug. That's fine, just try to make it back here before you fall asleep. Tsunade responded. Will do, mom. Also, Akari is going to spend the night at Sasuke's house. Naruto said as he motioned the girls to follow him. Okay. Tsunade responded as she grabbed Yoruichi and pulled her into the kitchen with her. I need you to get Naruto to talk. He is afraid to talk to anyone in the village about his feelings. Maybe see if the other girls will help you, but do not let him go to the training grounds. He has already worked enough today. Tsunade told her as she motioned her to a hallway that would take her to the girls' room. Yoruichi saw Naruto leading the group of girls and ran to catch up. This is your room, Naruto stated as he opened the door, reveal a massive room that had 5 separate beds set up, but to his confusion he saw that his stuff had been moved into the room. Yoruichi, taking the hint, quickly turned and locked the door. Sit down, Naruto, Yoruichi stated in a voice that made it clear that this wasn't up for debate as she pointed to his bed. Naruto sighed in defeat and walked over and sat on his bed. What is going on, Naruto? Why won't you open up to people? Yoruichi stated as she walked towards him and sat down on the bed next to him. You're afraid, aren't you? Mai asked as she and the other girls looked at Naruto expectantly. How could you tell? Naruto asked. I am a sensor ninja, and after the fight with your mother I sensed a feeling of remorse within you. Mai answered. Well, you are right, Mai. I am afraid that I will force Akari away from my parents. I am afraid that she'll end like me, spending constant hours training so that I can hide from my feelings. Naruto responded. When was the last time you have done something for yourself, something that only you wanted to do? Mai asked. When I do my kenjutsu training every day. Naruto responded. Why don't you go visit your girlfriend? Kuritsuchi asked. Naruto started to laugh. I would if I had one. Most of the girls in this village only have eyes for my brother since he is the one that's always around my brother. Naruto responded. This stunned all of the girls in the room as they thought for sure Naruto would have a girlfriend. Wow, smart, handsome, and honorable, should definitely get to know him better. All the girls thought in their heads. So Naruto, why don't you take us on a tour of the village? Yugito suggested. Sure, I'll go tell Tsunade and then we'll get going. Naruto responded. Naruto, Kunoichi, Sasuke, Neji, Tenten, and Rock Lee walked down the steps of the academy with their headbands in their hands. As they stepped down, all of them except Naruto were swarmed by family and friends. Naruto looked over and saw Lord Hiashi addressing Neji. Your father would be so proud of you. To handle in such a way as to honor him by becoming the top graduate in your class. Myself and whole clan are proud of you as well, Hiashi said as the man gave Neji a huge hug. Thank you, uncle, but none of this could have been possible without Naruto. If he hadn't forced me to alter my path, I am afraid I would have went down a far darker one. Neji responded. I doubt that. You probably would have been just fine. I'm just glad to see you happy. Naruto said as he walked up to Neji. By the way, here is a graduation gift from me. Naruto handed Neji a scroll. Neji looked at Naruto questionably, then opened the scroll, a beautiful lavender-colored Yumi bow. Naruto, I can't accept this. You have already done too much for me. It is I who should be giving you a gift. Neji said. Neji, all the stuff I did for you is stuff that any good friend would, so please accept this gift. And I had noticed that you had taken an interest in Kyudo and believe this could be a great weapon for you when combined with your Byakugan. Naruto responded. Okay, fine, but I will someday pay you back for this. Neji stated as Naruto began to walk away towards the gate. Naruto. Someone yelled as he turned out the gate to walk to the Senju compound. Usually Naruto would have expected to hear this from Akari, but he knew this could not be since was with Tsunade, who took Akari with her on a visit to a small village on the border of Fire Country. Naruto turned to find no less than Mei Terumi standing in front of him. Hey Mei, how have you been? Naruto asked as Mei gave him a hug. The two of them had become close friends during her stay with him, even more so than the other girls. The whole group had stayed in contact with each other and had all successfully become genin. Great, I see you graduated from the academy, Mei responded. Yes, tomorrow we will be assigned our teams. Naruto replied. So where are your parents? I expected them to be here to congratulate you. Mei asked. They won't show up more than likely. How about I take you out to eat at Ichiraku Ramen? Naruto responded, changing the subject. Okay, let's go, Mei responded. 5 minutes later, Ichiraku Ramen. Afternoon, Tyuki, how has business been? Naruto asked as he walked into the ramen store. Good, Naruto, it's been a while since I have seen you. Who is this lovely lady? Tyuki responded, then asked as Naruto and Mei sat down at the counter. This is Mei, she's the Mizukage's sister and my friend. Naruto said as Minato, Kushina, Kakashi, Obito, Rin, Mito, and Menma walked into the ramen stand. Hey big brother. Mito and Menma both yelled and ran up and hugged Naruto. Hey Squirts, how did the training go? Naruto asked as he wrapped them both in a hug. It's going well, Dad and Uncle Kakashi are beginning to teach us some C-rank jutsu. Mito responded. As Mito said this, Minato noticed that Naruto had his ninja headband strapped to his upper arm. I take it from your headband you passed your graduation test, Naruto? Minato asked. Yep, finished top of the class 2, Lord Hokage. Naruto. At this moment, Kushina noticed Mei and did not like how close her oldest son had become to the Mist Kunoichi. Lady Terumi, may I ask what you are doing here? Kushina asked in a voice that made it clear that she was displeased. Before Mei could say anything, Naruto answered. She is here with me and I suggest you change your tone, Lady Uzumaki. Naruto stated in a deadly dark voice. Kushina stopped immediately and stood there in shock. Naruto, is that how you address your mother? Minato asked in a deathly voice of his own. Something in Naruto finally snapped. Tyuki, can we have 2 miso ramen bowls to go? Naruto asked. Here you go, Tyuki said as he laid the bowls on the counter and Naruto picked them up and began to walk out. As he did, a tear hit the ground. Only 2 people noticed this, Mei and Kushina. Mei quickly followed Naruto. My god, how much have we neglected and abused him? Kushina wondered in her head as she realized just how little she had done for her eldest son. 2 minutes later, on top of the Hokage monument, Mei approached Naruto, hearing sobs coming from him. Mei sat down next to him and wrapped him in a hug. Shish let it all out, Mei said as she held Naruto. Naruto cried for the first time in many years. He continued to cry until he finally could not any longer. Naruto sat up, pulled out the 2 bowls of ramen, and handed one to Mei. I'm sorry for acting the way I did just now. I don't what caused but something in me finally snapped. Naruto said, but before he could get any farther, Mei kissed him. Naruto was surprised at first but then willingly kissed her back. As they drew away from each other, Mei asked, "So what does this make us?" "I think boyfriend and girlfriend would be the correct term," Naruto said as he kissed her again. Unknown to Naruto due to him being overwhelmed and then preoccupied, Kushina Uzumaki was hiding in the trees behind the new couple. When Kushina saw this, she decided to leave them be and headed toward the Hokage Tower. She had a matter she needed to talk to Minato about.